Let's get this show on the road. First, my YouTube channel needs to be muted once it registers I'm live. Again, another breaking story. YouTube channel needs to be. It's a busy day at the Tori and Freddie in the Kitchen channel. Our second live today with breaking news. I've sent a link to Freddie and hopefully he can join me. I'm just getting a bit set up here. It's pretty obvious from my headline what's going on. Tom Hanks and, hey, Morgan, yeah, you've got me again. Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson, they've tested positive for coronavirus while in Australia. I've got Tom's Instagram page up with his announcement, but I would like to discuss an aspect of this story which seems to happen a lot with celebrities. And the question is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. The topic, will a celebrity coronavirus diagnosis make people take COVID-19 seriously? And the reason I've put that in as a topic for discussion is I'm not being an alarmist person going, oh, my God, a celebrity's got coronavirus. But historically, and it's disappointing, I think, but historically, if a celebrity is diagnosed with something, the reaction is usually far more significant than if it's just your average ma and pa. And I'll give you an example why I thought of this question. Gosh, we've got 10 people watching already. This is awesome. Not even 2 minutes, just 2 minutes in, and welcome everybody. So the reason I've got that little scrolling banner down the bottom, I think that's what we should discuss, because I'll give you an example. Breast screening has been something we've all been well aware of for a long time and told we should do. But when Kylie Minogue was diagnosed with breast cancer, there was a massive spike in breast screenings in Australia. And no amount of media publicity campaigns to encourage women to go and get it done had the same effect. So that's a little spin I've put on this story that's breaking. It broke 40 minutes ago, probably a bit longer than that when I first found the story, 41 minutes ago on Instagram. Tom Hanks, hello, folks. Rita and I are down here in Australia. We felt a bit tired, like we had colds and some body aches. Rita had some chills that came and went, slight fevers too. To play things right, as is needed in the world right now, we were tested for the coronavirus and were found to be positive. Well now, what to do next? The medical officials have protocols that must be followed. We Hankses will be tested, observed and isolated for as long as public health and safety requires. Not much more to it than a one day at a time approach, no? We'll keep the world posted and updated. Take care of yourselves, Hanks. So that's from Tom Hanks's Instagram, accompanied with a photograph of a rubbish bin with a yellow garbage bag in it and a rubber glove. Quite an ominous thought, really. So that's his Instagram post. G'day, Aussie Outlaw. Hey, Kylie. Hey, cuz, the world's gone batshit crazy. We've been home for a week with the flu. You poor things. I've been staving what I believe to be nothing more than a cold. No, I'm coughing right on cue. On and off since Monday. Monday, Tuesday, I was very congested and snotty. Woke up yesterday going, you beauty, it's gone. And then last night I felt a bit unwell again. But I also watched the 60 Minutes story on coronavirus, and one of the statistics that has stuck in my mind after watching that last night, after Mel suggested I watch it, is that for every coronavirus death, it means there's at least another 80 people that have the virus. That's the sort of statistic. So the fact, for example, in Australia that 3 people have died of coronavirus, we should have 300 confirmed cases. And what's the latest stat for Australia? I don't think we're at 100 yet. So that's kind of an interesting statistic. The most recent article about Australia is 5 days before virus tidal wave hits Australia. Italy's lesson is stark. Waiting is disastrous. Extreme measures are required, but Australia's response may already be 5 days too late. Hang on, I could put my camera on too. I had that switched off. G'day. I've been at a meeting. I'm a hot mess right now. 22 people. Are you all Tom Hanks fans? It's crazy. So, yes, but the reason I've brought it up is, I mean, you know, they've announced Tom Hanks and his wife have both tested positive for coronavirus. They're in Australia. He explains that they felt a bit unwell, so they got tested. They've tested positive, and now they are following the medical protocols that have to be followed. And they're both aged 63. That was another thing that was raised in the 60 Minutes special, is that anyone over anyone over 65 is particularly susceptible to coronavirus not being a good combo with them and their health. But Tom Hanks has been making a film at Oxenford Studio on the northern Gold Coast. It's been shut down, production of the film. All the crew and actors have been advised this morning that a crew member had tested positive for coronavirus and advised them to stay home. We request all the cast and crew stay at home today and not come to work. All work activity on the production is cancelled, will not resume until further notice. We appreciate everyone's cooperation and we will be following up with more details over the next several hours. Hanks is playing Elvis Presley's longtime manager, Colonel Tom Parker, in the film. Elvis Presley is played by 27-year-old Austin Butler, who was recently in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. As of this morning, Australia has almost 150 cases of the coronavirus, with 20 in Queensland. It's not known if Hanks and his wife Rita Wilson are included in that figure. They've recently been in Sydney, where Rita Wilson performed at the Sydney Opera House on Saturday night. A unique blend of Southern Californian rock meets Nashville country. She also performed at the Emporium Hotel in Brisbane last Thursday, March the 5th. And then there's photos of them. Oh, Tom looks a bit old there. A bit of a grey beard happening. And that's it, more to come. So, yeah, breaking news. But how do we all feel about this? What I thought we could focus on a little bit is how is this likely to be taken more seriously now that a celebrity has been diagnosed with coronavirus? I mean, I personally think if that happens, it's a good thing. But I also think it's sad that it takes a celebrity or somebody famous to be diagnosed for people to go, oh, shit, better take this seriously now. So how does everyone else think about this? G'day, Aussie Outlaw. Daryl. Oh, you're probably not Daryl today. You were yesterday. Tory fan. Thank you, Morgan. Kylie. They reckon we don't have to get tested because we haven't been anywhere. Yeah, I don't know about that, because you don't have where. I mean, well, if you haven't been anywhere except at home, you might be all right. But if you've been to your local shops, because the 60 Minutes story, I highly recommend anyone who hasn't seen it. Mel recommended it yesterday, and I watched it last night. It's pretty full on. I mean, and no, let's not panic, but it's way more full on, I think, than people realize. So, but yeah, the little question scrolling across the bottom of my screen is that I used an example earlier that when Kylie Minogue was diagnosed with breast cancer, breast screening statistics went through the roof, despite the fact that there'd been huge campaigns for years before that for women to get screened. And it took a celebrity for people in Australia, women in Australia, to go, maybe I should get a screen. And I wonder, is this because it's a famous Hollywood actor and two famous Hollywood actors, and one's now a country singer apparently, but is this likely to make people take it more seriously? What do you guys think? Morgan says, we've had 2 cases in California, no travel involved, origins are unknown. And that's the thing, you can just end up being in close contact with someone at your local supermarket and not know. I'm getting a headache, I need food, I'm hangry. What can I eat? I'm eyeing off those chopped chip cookies I got yesterday in my subscription box. No, I'll wait. Morgan, whatever gets it to the forefront, I suppose. I agree, Morgan. I think that here we go. We've got Freddie joining us. I'll add him to the stream. Hello again, gorgeous.
Hello.
Yeah, have you caught up on
hold on. Let me turn off your
YouTube. Hi, MD. Anyone seen Hank's Cecil B. DeMille speech? He was sick in January.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Freddie. Welcome.
Okay, well, play the breaking news thing. Hi, Freddie reporting live from the scene.
Yeah, well, you're not. I am, because they're in Australia.
Okay, but I have breaking American news.
We have got breaking celebrity news. Tom Hanks.
American news.
Well, it's just fucking Australian news because they're in Australia.
Listen to me and let me tell you what the breaking news is.
Okay.
Donald Trump suspends all travel into the United States from Europe for the next 30 days to combat coronavirus.
Yeah, that's a link actually in this story about Tom Hanks, funnily enough.
I know. I can't believe it. So that means literally my Amazon...
Sorry. Don't you hate those little videos that just start playing?
I know, but this is kind of funny because I had just bought a new microphone for our podcast to be delivered in New York. And
you
now
sound amazing.
I know, but it means that my package has to stay in the US for the next 30 days because there can be no travel.
No, not even for a package.
Well, if there's no planes between the two, between the continents, I imagine that means mail as well.
I imagine it will too. Apparently, I'm reading here that Celine Dion has also tested for coronavirus and has cancelled her shows.
What?
Celine Dion, yeah, that's just come up on my newsfeed as well. Let me have a look at this one. Celine Dion's been forced to I'll call her Celine Dion. So if I do call her that, don't correct me. That's just me being a dickhead. But Celine Dion...
Face cream and sunnies.
Oh, eBay. Another video. She's been forced to cancel 2 shows after she contracted the common cold. Oh, she tested negative. Well, fuck off, Celine Dion. We're talking about Tom and Rita.
For a headline.
So you've busted out the Trump story, which is incredible, and we've basically got breaking news here now that Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson have tested positive for coronavirus in Australia. The Elvis Presley movie that he's in has been shut down. They've sent everybody home.
And that movie's already controversial as well.
What's that, Freddie?
I said that the movie is already controversial as well. Because they want to know if he's going to, the talk is are they going to show all of Elvis's alleged sexual encounters with
young girls?
Yeah.
Well, Priscilla was 14 when they met.
Yeah.
Hi, John of Oof. Hi, I don't know how to pronounce this one. Mabay Tendong. Hi from the United States. So if you're planning on going anywhere anytime soon, you can't, as in a plane. Alec Carter says ship Tom to New Zealand. Jay Blake. G'day, Jay Blake. I was running. We've got a lot of new people in here. So
would you like me to play the audio from Trump?
Yeah, can we just chat Tom Hanks for 1 second and then I'd love to do Trump? I'm just catching up with everyone in chat because we had 40 people at one point, Freddie. It's dropped now to 28 since you arrived.
Oh, sorry. Well, let me tell you a Tom Hanks anecdote.
But I just want to run through some chats and say hello to everyone. Then we'll quickly cover this thing about my maybe we've covered it already. I just think sometimes a celebrity, unfortunately, or an athlete being diagnosed with something will make the population of the planet sit up and listen. And I don't agree with that. I think it's unfortunate we put so much emphasis on our celebrities and our athletes. But if it does make people go, holy shit, if it can happen to Tom Hanks, it can happen to anyone, that's surely a good thing, right?
Yeah, but it's kind of like on our previous live with our past breaking news is the news cycles are constantly evolving whenever it's a celebrity that just pushes. I mean, it's literally Weinstein who now Tom Hanks is going to be all over the news.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I went live, because it's just like, okay, this is a story that's going to gather traction very quickly. He's obviously going to be in self-quarantine with Rita Wilson for a couple of weeks, maybe longer. So his Instagram's going to be followed, I would imagine, quite religiously by people. He can certainly, and is already using his name to put really, relevant and interesting advice out there, explaining how they felt, that they went and had the test, they tested positive, what protocols they need to follow now. So, people listen to celebrities, people listen to rock stars, people listen to athletes. So if it does make people pay
listen to you.
Huh?
I said people listen to you, you little celebrity.
Get out of here, Freddie. Just a few more g'days. Hi, it's Paid Angel. This is like Philadelphia all over again for Tom. Colin B. Hi, Colin B. Welcome to our channel. One case in the Caribbean so far. Hopefully it stays limited. God knows we can't handle a pandemic. Well, sending lots of love and strength out to everyone in the Caribbean, or the Caribbean as it's sometimes called. Jay Blake, I'm moving to the moon. Let's go, guys. Alec Carter is saying obesity will kill you faster with corona. That's interesting.
Speaking on that, actually, I saw another thing that said there's actually more people committing suicide from depression than there are from deaths from corona.
Yeah, but dude, like that Australian article I just read, like we're 5 days too late. Things are about to get crazy here. That statistic's probably going to be overtaken very soon. Just still saying g'day to people in chat. We've got a lot of new people I want to acknowledge. Raven at our treasure chest. Hello, welcome. Good to have you here. Eat the cookie. Eat the chocolate cookie. All right, I'll get onto that in a minute. Ivory 123-100. Welcome. Life is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what disease you'll get. I'm loving
these jokes.
These people are new to our chat, and they get us already, Freddie. It's awesome. Hi, beautiful D90 Bell, Tori, Tom, Rita, everyone. Hi. Dylan Flanagan. I'm quitting my job and staying inside, honest, and I work in a bank. Fuck, this is like a nightmare. Dylan, it's certainly this 60 Minutes story, please, everyone, subscribe to 60 Minutes Australia on YouTube and watch the show they've just done on coronavirus.
Subscribe to our channel first.
Sorry?
Subscribe to our channel first before you promote another one. Tori, come on.
Ready for marketing. Come on down. Shout to us. We're on the ball. This is our second breaking news show this morning. Like, we're out of control. But yeah, things are happening. Now we've got another new
Can I tell you something before we move on? I saw that Italy, because they've closed down the country, they're also suspending all mortgage payments.
Wow. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, that's actually really, I mean, actually, it's a way to save the economy. If no one other countries do that, I mean, you can imagine what the world's going to happen. I mean,
well, this is it. I mean, we are living through something unprecedented. Like the world is, the whole world is being affected by this, and we're seeing footage coming out from Italy with nobody out and about on the streets. You need to mute me on something, Freddie.
What?
Do you have my YouTube channel playing?
Nope. Oh, it's probably just that the microphone is just rebounding. Hold on, I'll mute my mic.
No, don't mute your mic, because then you can't comment.
Oh yeah, but no, just to get rid of any echo or reverb.
Do you want to double check you haven't got another browser open?
Yeah, I only had one. I'm not trying to increase views that desperately.
Okay, so Muppets and Manilow, great name. Hi, Tori and everyone. I'm not new here, but I always miss your lives. Well, welcome. Great to have you here. Ivory says, check out the warnings from Akita, Japan in 1973. I'll make a note of that to look at that. in a minute, possibly. But we've got the two stories breaking at the moment. We've got Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, who are in Australia at the moment, have tested positive for coronavirus. And Tom Hanks announced it on his Instagram. Well, it was 41 minutes ago when I found the story. It's probably close to an hour ago. And the other one is that Trump has stopped all travel between the US and Europe for 30 days. Is it?
Yeah, that's what the headline said.
Will the Rocker, good evening, Groover. Great to have you here again. Will was in my unboxing last night. We had lots of fun. Tony Stark, thanks for doing this. You're welcome, Tony Stark. Keen to hear your views on this. Are we going to pay more attention now because a celebrity's been, or two celebrities have tested positive? John Moir, is this real about Tom Hanks? No one deserves this. It is real, and he's in good spirits. His Instagram, I'll just read that again. Hello, folks. Rita and I are down here in Australia. We felt a bit tired, like we had colds and some body aches. Rita had some chills that came and went and slight fevers too. To play things right, as is needed in the world right now, we were tested for the coronavirus and were found to be positive. Well, now what to do next? The medical officials have protocols that must be followed. We Hankses will be tested, observed and isolated for as long as public health and safety requires. Not much more to it than a one day at a time approach. No, we'll keep the world posted and updated. Take care of yourselves, Hanks. So there's his Insta post.
And it's sad because he's so nice.
Yeah, but look, let's not write him off yet. You know, people are surviving it.
I'm just talking about in real life. He's really, he's a nice guy. I met him at Oscars once.
And I think, again, you know, like that little thing running down the bottom of the screen, and I'll change that shortly when we move into the Trump story. But I think people are probably going to, like I said a bit earlier, because he's a celebrity but also a nice one, people are going to go, wow, and sit up and actually go, it's time we take this seriously. Hi, Anastasia Dean. Anastasia got home from Poland, so she's relieved to be home at all. I'm so glad you're home. You could have been living in Poland for the next 30 days.
But actually, I would think it would be better to be in Europe, because the very fact that in the US we don't have paid sick leave, there are a lot of people who are still going to be out and about trying to make their money, because if my mortgage is due, I'm sick, I still have to go to work. And that's something no one is talking about. That's the reason why the infection rates in the US will probably be so high, because that is not being addressed.
Yeah, and people are going to work because they think, and this is what I'm saying, we're about to witness something the world's never had to deal with before, where businesses are probably going to have to somehow set things up so staff can work from home. They can't put people out on sick leave, possibly. Everyone might be self-quarantined and still need an income. Businesses are really going to struggle across the field, doesn't matter what area of business you're in.
And that's why they should not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Tori and Freddie in the Kitchen, because at moments like this, if you are on quarantine, we are always here to entertain, to talk, to have
absolutely
fun,
around the clock. And you're getting live reports from Australia and France at the same time with a primarily American audience. Joe Moir, I've just highlighted his. Actually, I'm just going to push us out a little bit. That's better. So would you agree with me and other people that the coronavirus has for sure been overhyped and the media has made it a bigger deal than it really is? Absolutely not. I totally disagree. And I think you need to watch this. I'm going to put the link into chat now, actually. No, I don't think it's overhyped. I think, in fact, it's the opposite. I think we've not known a lot about it, and now that information's coming out, not that it's too late for countries, but they're saying Australia's already 5 days too late in getting protocols in place. But I'm going to put the link to this story, and I think you need to listen to an expert who's eloquent. He worked on the SARS pandemic, and
my belief already was that when it was being initially spread, that they were being extra cautious to not scare people. And I think they should have been more proactive during that time.
I agree. And they scared. Yeah, I agree. Sorry to cut you off, Freddie. I agree, because I think there was definitely a scare campaign, which is what led to people buying toilet paper and stuff, which realistically now, you know, we are going to have to make sure we've got enough supplies in our homes if we need to self-quarantine. I'd be going for a month, not 2 weeks.
But aren't you a prepper?
Hey?
Aren't you a prepper?
A prepper? What do you mean by that?
You know, it's like a big American thing to always be prepared, but it's also a Californian thing because of the earthquakes. You should always have your emergency kit. And I always tell everyone I know, you should always have an emergency kit because you never know what could happen. And you should always have enough food, drink, water.
Course. Yeah, of course. And I mean, I live in a very bushfire prone area. So we always have a bushfire kit, especially over summer, but like I have it all year round. For things that I need, even just to chuck into my car, right down to things like phone chargers, water, all sorts of stuff. Hit the like button for Tori and Freddie in the kitchen. Ivory says, I've been screaming about this for almost 2 months, that this is going to go global. My friends thought I was nuts. And that's a fair comment, Ivory. And the thing is, again, I think that Tom Hanks and his wife have got this is going to unfortunately be the wake-up call for a lot of people. I did put the link to the 60-minute story into chat, and I thoroughly recommend you click on that link and mark it to watch later, like when we finish, because it's got relevant statistics and information from an expert on SARS, someone who's worked with this kind of pandemic before, and it's not so much terrifying, it's fascinating, because the reality is the world is probably going to end up being self-quarantined, or, a huge chunk of the planet.
You have to be clear, though. 60 Minutes is also available in the US, and you have to click 60 Minutes Australia.
Well, it will take you, the link will take you to the 60 Minutes Australia channel. So, yeah.
Because if you Google it, you're going to be, and you're American, you're going to be thinking 60 Minutes.
Yeah, no. I've put the link. I'll put it again because I really can't stress the importance of this enough. But anyone who clicks on that, you can open it up in a second window, and as soon as we end this live, go and watch it. And I think I was so fascinated by it, but like Mel said last night, she said her jaw was just dropped the whole time. My eyes were out on sticks for some of this stuff. It's unbelievable, but it doesn't instill fear or panic in you. It's actually fascinating that we are about to witness this thing happening the world over. And, fingers and toes crossed that most people that catch this virus survive it.
Well, I think they will. They said 85% of the cases are mild, but it's the elderly and the infirm.
Yeah. This dude yesterday on 60 Minutes says people over 65 are considered to be at risk. But in Australia, all of the deaths have been elderly. There was a 95-year-old, an 80-year-old, and a 77-year-old.
Yeah.
But there's a 16-year-old in Australia with coronavirus who's fine, a school kid.
You have to imagine how many people have already had it and thought it was just the flu and was like, this can't be corona because I didn't go
and
here.
And they've been out and about, exactly.
Yeah.
There's another massive headline on all the Australian media over the last few days. It is, if you feel sick, don't go to work. And it pisses me off that the coronavirus has made people start going, I feel sick, maybe I shouldn't go to work, because people are sick and going to work still. But seriously, even pre-coronavirus, if anyone came to a workplace that I was in and they had gastro or a really bad cold, we'd all be like, go home, because it spreads through the office and you end up with 10 people on sick leave.
I can tell you how many times I've been fired for being sick.
And that's scary, isn't it? But I think this is going to shift that sort of practice as well. I think employers are going to have to stop being dickheads. And, I can't believe you've lost your jobs for calling in sick. That's disgusting.
Yeah, I can tell you, I was working on a TV show for a major company, and I remember the executive producer called me when I was in the pharmacy, and he was pissed. He was like, where are you? I said, I'm in Target. He's like, why are you in Target? I said, because I have a prescription to get filled. Keep in mind, when this happened, this was a long time ago, but I can still remember the bill was $9,000 for the emergency treatment, and it ended up being a sinusitis. 2 days after I returned to work, they fired me.
Oh. Did you sue for unfair dismissal?
Of course not. It's California. It's outwill employment.
$9,000. And also, just on your comment about Target, we've got Target in Australia, but you can't get prescriptions filled there.
Yeah, but that's an American thing.
Made.
There's a
I know.
pharmacy in Target, though.
I know there was a pharmacy in the Tajay I went to in Hawaii last year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Serenity B, hi, beautiful. Serenity B's just got back from the supermarket, stocking the cupboard now.
Hold on. You didn't highlight Ivory's last comment. I mean, it goes with what
I'm not down there yet. I'm way up. I'm saying hi to the people that I haven't said hi to yet. Sorry. Morgan says, in addition to Tom Hanks, the National Basketball Association has dispensed all games due to a player testing positive. That is big for America. And there was an article in the Australian media only a couple of days ago saying that all AFL games, like our Australian Football League games, they're going to still play the games, but they'll be in completely empty stadiums.
Wait, crazy. Hold on. To clarify, do you mean football as in soccer or football?
No, Australian rules football. So it's another game. Again, it's unique to Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, look at Ivory's comment. The reason it'll be high in the US, we don't believe anything bad happens to us. 9/11 shocked us. Exactly. Look at this one. Oh, I love Muppets and Manilow. Someone quarantined Betty White just as a precaution. Yep. She's awesome. She's one of my child-free heroes. Really? Ivory's a carpenter. It is hard to work from a laptop. You're right. This is going to affect so many different industries. It's full on, isn't it? Still scrolling down. Ivory says we can wash our butts in a shower. Well, we can. I do think that based on, like, again, don't panic, people, but I think everyone needs to make sure, like Freddie was saying earlier, be a prepper, be prepared, have enough supplies for a minimum. I would say try to go for 4 weeks if you can afford it. A minimum of 2 weeks, and
you can easily do 4 weeks. You have pasta. I mean, you can load up on pasta for cheap. I mean, on any budget, pasta is the best go.
Yep, and rice as well, and you can buy big 10 kilos sort of bag.
Rice, and beans.
Yep, and tuna I would recommend as well. Tin tuna.
Can I tell you, I'm really enjoying canned or tinned squid, calamari.
Oh, really? I've never had cans.
Well, the French people make it. They have. I just found it the other day. It's called calamar à l'américaine, and it's like in a tomato sauce. It's amazing.
I'll have to check that out. I've got canned smoked oysters in my house. I love them too.
They don't exist here. I was trying to explain that to them here. Canned smoked oysters are heavenly.
Hi, Val's Variety Venue. Gorgeous girl. Good to have you here. This name I don't know how to pronounce. XXUS313SSXX. I'm just going to go XX. Said I found out he got the virus. What is TikTok?
You don't know what TikTok is? It's an application where you can do like dances and sing. It's really fun.
Oh, cool. I think I have. Is that the one that people can do like karaoke stuff on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that, yeah.
Joanne, Australia, hello, welcome. What is going on in our world? And yep, they're definitely emojis that suit this story. Just recapping, we are going to move on in a minute to Trump, but recapping, Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, his wife, who are in Australia for a film that he's making on the Gold Coast about Elvis Presley. They have tested positive for coronavirus. They've been in Sydney and the Gold Coast while they've been in Australia and Brisbane. So they're self-quarantined. So that's the breaking news. And the question across the bottom on the scrolling banner, will a celebrity coronavirus diagnosis make people take COVID-19 seriously? And I think it will.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about the reporting out of South America and Africa to Ivory.
It's already just 2 days ago, it arrived in South Africa. It's actually ironically a uncle of one of my friends. Yeah.
Just give me a second, Freddie. Have a look at the highlighted comment. That's nice, Toyo, 1987. What is this dumb fucking shit?
It's okay.
What's this dumb fucking way to spell shit?
Well, it's a Toyo from 1987.
Here from over here, holy shit, Tom Hanks. Fuck. Well, that pretty much sums it up. You're right.
Breaking news.
Toyo is also saying Ben Affleck. Let's have a look and see if there's. Well, Celine Dion was tested. We read that earlier, but she's actually tested negative. I can't see any breaking news about Ben Affleck. So
Lady Pegasus still could not get toilet paper, she just said, after coming back from tennis.
Oh, dolls.
You should have stole it from the stadium.
I think it would have been a local tennis court, but that was a good thing. Oh, public toilets have been raided like crazy, Freddie.
Oh, I can imagine. And that's that sandpaper toilet paper on top of that.
I think Toyo's a troll, but pretty harmless one so far. So, Toyo, you can keep adding to the conversation with your little draw. Okay, so now I'm jumping over to the banners and I'm changing the ticker to say Trump. It wasn't banned. What's the right word?
Suspended. He suspended all travel into the United States from Europe.
Well, I think it's all travel between the USA and Europe is the correct way to say it.
Well, let's hear what he says, because maybe it just means no commercial flights, but maybe the cargo flights can still go, because that'll really mess up commerce.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So I've changed our banner. So I just want to wish Tom Hanks and his wife, Rita Wilson, all the best, and subscribe and like our YouTube channel, Tori and Freddie in the Kitchen. I haven't even had a chance to rebrand yet, Freddie, but I will do it. But yeah, Tom and Rita, subscribe to our channel. We'll keep you in the loop.
Okay, here we go. Should I hit play?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Keep new cases from entering our shores. We will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days. The new rules will go into effect Friday at midnight. These restrictions will be adjusted subject to conditions on the ground. There will be exemptions for Americans who have undergone appropriate screenings, and these prohibitions will not only apply to the tremendous amount of trade and cargo, but various other things as we get approval. Anything coming from Europe to the United States is what we are discussing. These restrictions will also not apply to the United Kingdom. At the same time, we are monitoring the situation in China and South Korea. And as their situation improves, we will reevaluate the restrictions and warnings that are currently in place for a possible early opening. Ensure that working Americans impacted by the virus can stay home without fear of financial hardship, I will soon be taking emergency action, which is unprecedented, to provide financial relief. This will be targeted for workers who are ill, quarantined, or caring for others due to coronavirus. I will be asking Congress to take legislative action to extend this relief. Because of the economic policies that we have put into place.
And that's the end of it. Are you there, Tori? I guess she's gone. Joanna says, sounds like Trump has the beer virus himself. He almost sounds like he's crying, but he's a notorious germaphobe, apparently. Or allegedly, I should say. Which I guess would make kind of sense why he sounds so scared. Wonder what the astronauts in the international spaceship. Oh, they're probably thinking now, if that virus was to get up into space, how would it mutate? Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to be concerned. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, when has that ever happened where they stopped all flights coming into the US for 30 days? That kind of seems a bit scary. He might not be well, actually, because wasn't he exposed to the two congressmen who had corona that were on him with the flight?
I'm back, Freddie. I had myself muted. I was trying to change the title of the show to include the Trump travel suspension, and it just wouldn't let me do it, and I had too many characters and stuff. But anyway, I'm back. What do you think of this comment from Karen H? And hi, Karen H. Welcome to our stream. What a moronic president we have. He sounds stoned. He sounded a bit robotic. I've got to agree. There was something not right.
He's reading a teleprompter.
And so to say, is that Trump's trying to sound serious whilst reading a teleprompter?
Yeah.
I mean, Ivory says he's concerned, and I don't know. I think it's smart. I must admit, I don't know how you felt, Freddie, but when I first started hearing about coronavirus at the end of last year, my initial thought was they shouldn't let anyone travel out of the Wuhan province. So that was my first reaction to it. If you're going to try and contain something that's taking off with such great speed, surely stopping travel in planes and even trains out of the province would be the obvious thing to do.
But you know what's ironic is one of my friends from South Africa is actually teaching English in Wuhan province. He's not in Wuhan, but he's in the province, and he has still not gotten the virus. So I mean, he's right there in the epicenter, and he's still out and about. He's still, he had posted on one of his stories that he was getting his haircut, but he was so thankful that when the police came to shut down the salon, the hairdresser at least finished before they shut it down. But he's still going out to eat. He's still living his life. So, I mean, I guess it's not all, doom and gloom. And he was literally quarantined for 2 weeks, and he was dying of boredom because they literally were in the beginning only letting them leave their houses or apartments for 1 hour. I don't know if it was a day or a week. Because there was another.
I'm getting refreshes and the latest updates on both of the stories we're covering. Tom Hanks is actually in a Gold Coast hospital now with COVID-19. So he's actually in hospital. He hasn't been. In fact, he and Rita Wilson are both. This is a story that broke about 20 minutes ago with our Prime Minister talking about a stimulus package, which has nothing to do with this story, obviously. But the video will load in a minute. I've just got to wait and stop it. Right. So that's Gold Coast Hospital. And then on the Trump thing, the latest.
Joanna makes a good point, though, because if all the planes are going to be grounded and he's going to take executive action, I have a feeling that someone who's already rich is probably about to get richer because all the people who are losing business are probably going to want compensation as well. So that's.
Yeah. Well, I just want to read this. This is just breaking like 10 minutes ago. Due to Trump suspending all travel from Europe to the USA starting Friday this week, it has catapulted the world's stock markets immediately into disarray. Now, I don't understand the stock market. Someone might be able to explain it in chat, or you may know this, Freddie, but over the lunchtime trade, the ASX 200 has dropped 4.92%, representing more than 50 billion wiped off in minutes.
I can tell you that I had one of those market simulations where you buy stocks as just to see how well they will do and everything. And I lost $3,000 over the past 3 days. And today I lost $500. So, but it's still not as bad as it could be. I mean, it could be worse.
This has happened within an hour of Trump making that announcement. So I don't think that's the end of it. But to have plunged more than 4% within an hour of that announcement. Also, another thing, the World Health Organization has declared the coronavirus, it is officially a pandemic. And some of the biggest pandemics in history include the bubonic plague, cholera, and smallpox.
But that's malaria has probably still killed more people, though.
Yeah, but I'm just running through some headlines. I think this is all relevant. There's a horrible story out of Italy. I'm not going to mention that because it'll just make us all get really upset.
Can you tell me?
No, the headline's horrible. It's "We've been abandoned. Italian actor says sister lay dead in their home from coronavirus for days."
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, the New York Times did a podcast I want to say now it's like 3 or 4 weeks ago, maybe, where they were talking about in China that they weren't testing people and that they were just classifying them as having pneumonia, and then they were incinerating the bodies.
Yes, and a lot of that's discussed in that 60 Minutes program. I'll put the link back in there in the channel, in the chat again in a second.
Oh, 60 Minutes covered that.
Yeah, 60 Minutes Australia. Yeah, that's what I keep putting this link into StreamYards for everyone in chat to click on it and to mark it.
Morgan.
Watch later. Still running through some headlines and then I'll get back to chat. We've had the first death in Bali confirmed. Apparently there was some sort of bungle. A tourist, a British woman, has died from coronavirus in Bali. And listen to this. The island's officials claim the testing authority in Jakarta failed to notify them of the tourist.
Bali has controversial.
Failed to notify them of the tourist positive result until after her death. Well, that was fucking useful, wasn't it? That's definitely a bungle. Just quickly scanning. There's tweets flying around at the moment. I'm just reading what I can. Right, we're back down to Tom Hanks announcing coronavirus. So to chat.
I want to address Morgan's comment saying she already lost quite a bit of her 401k. Great. But you haven't lost. You only lose when you sell. But that's the worst thing to do is a panic sell, because then you really can end up losing, because earlier today, the market shot back up and now it's fallen again. So the market should be, I think, closed already in the US. So I think it's tomorrow you'll see what happens and if it falls. But now, they have safeguards cut in, so it'll automatically stop itself if it falls too rapidly. So it really is a precarious situation, but the economy still is booming. So
right, now we've moved on to Lady Pegasus, because we've talked about your president, and ScoMo is Scott Morrison, our Prime Minister. Mm-hmm. And Lady Pegasus, ScoMo announced this morning all Australians on a pension and those on New Start will be getting a $500 one-off payment to help the economy.
Ooh, what's a New Start?
It's for young job seekers.
Oh, that's not bad. I want one.
Mm.
Do you get one?
No, I'm old and I have a job.
Oh, I was gonna say, but if you're old, then that means you're a pensioner.
I'm not a pensioner either. I'm in that middle ground, cheeky monkey.
Oh, I don't know what a pensioner is. I just thought it was someone who's
like an old age. We have a pension here, so I mean it'll probably be non-existent by the time I get to retirement age. But at the moment, when you retire, you're eligible for a pension from the government. You get, I don't know what the amount is per fortnight, maybe $1,000, $1,400, something like that a fortnight once you're retired. But I'm the generation of superannuation, and we're expected to retire on that.
Was that true what Morgan, or sorry, Joanne wrote?
It's $750, and for couples under $100,000. So that's, I'm assuming, in relation to the ScoMo payment. So if couples are earning under $100,000, they're going to qualify as well. Interesting.
Tori, did I tell you I'm ready to marry you before this money comes?
Bring it on, dude. Also, Lady Pegasus talking about these viruses coming from China. Well, again, have a look at the 60 Minutes story, because the virus came from bats in a wet market. There's now a massive push for developing countries in Asia to get rid of wet markets. And a wet market is where they have the live animals and they slaughter them at the site and sell them to people. And again, this I cannot impress enough. I'll post it one more time for the moment, and I'll do it at the end as well. Do check out the 60 Minutes story it's a direct link to Australian 60 Minutes. The pension's just over $900 a fortnight. That's tough. That'd be tough to live on that.
Wait,
but Joanne's saying it should be $750 payment for Lady Pegasus. She's on a disability pension.
Oh.
So yeah, this is pretty intense, isn't it? Trump's speech, ASX has shed billions. What was it? It was 4.9%. And Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are in a Gold Coast hospital with a positive COVID-19 diagnosis.
I wonder if that's them being extra precautious because it is a celebrity and the Australian government would just hate for someone so famous to pass away on their soil, or is that them really being in need of such care? Because everywhere else that I've read in the US has said, unless you are severely ill and if you thought it was any other disease, do not come to the hospital. If you can treat it at home with just paracetamol or Tylenol,
Yeah,
to do
that's
that.
not the advice in Australia. And at the moment, we've got ICU beds for people with coronavirus, so we can take them there and they're isolated, and it can be, they can be treated and they're not at risk of it being spread. So that is definitely not the direction in Australia from medical officials, that you stay at home unless you're really sick. And presumably they are. I mean, what he said on Instagram, his fevers, felt that they had colds, body aches, chills, all the rest. And I think, we at the moment we've got plenty of beds in ICU. It is definitely not a directive in Australia to only go to the hospital if you feel like shit. But again, with the 60 Minutes thing, they spoke to one of the hospitals in Melbourne in the state of Victoria. That particular hospital has 42 beds in ICU that are not occupied yet, that they've allocated for COVID-19 patients, but it's not going to cover it. If Australia's on the brink of what's happening in Italy, for example, our hospitals are not going to be able to deal with it. But at the moment,
but that's assuming everyone is so ill. Italy is the world's second largest elderly population after Japan.
Right. Okay, well, that might explain.
Yeah.
It swept through Italy rapidly, because it was only 2 weeks ago I was watching an Australian radio personality who now lives in Italy with her family. They've gone over there for some reason, and Kate Langbrook, her name is, and they were in Venice. They don't live in Venice, but they live in a little country town not far from Venice. And they went to Venice, and she actually took footage of how there was nobody out on the streets, and she said they were still having a really good time. And just what's happened in 2 weeks in Italy, now the entire country is self-quarantined.
Well, I was in the Alps last week, the week before last, or last weekend, I should say. And normally it's packed. It's so packed full of people, and you can't get a reservation, and there's just people everywhere. And there was no one. It was so quiet. It was weird. It was almost like we were like, oh, maybe because it's in Europe they do, or in France at least, but I think it's generally the same for all of Europe, is they do the kids' holidays, the school holidays, by zones. So there's 3 zones in France, the first being the northern parts, then the middle, then the southern. And most of because I'm in France, we're next to Italy. Most of the Alps are full of Italians, but it was empty. I mean, crickets, really empty.
Yeah. Just jumping back to chat, I've got a few things to cover, and I want to wrap this up in a minute as well. Firstly, Val's Variety Venue, it can stay on surfaces up to 9 days, on paper for 72 hours, clothing for 96 hours, so it stays on cash money too. What is the deal in France? Can you give me the current stats, Freddie? Do you know what's the story in France with coronavirus?
They are not doing like the English-speaking media is not breaking news. It's not constantly on a stream, but I see the numbers are creeping up on the global websites that are tracking it, which is really interesting though, because I don't know if that's really helping or not, because as I just previously mentioned about being in the Alps, is the only way to get from northern Italy into France, there's a tunnel, and apparently at the time it was closed. And when we were in the grocery store, I was with 2 friends who are Mexican, and they were speaking Spanish, and the lady was like, "Oh, are you guys from Italy?" And I was like, "Uh-oh." I already know what she was trying to say when she was asking that question. She assumed they were Italian, and she might have was like worried or something. And they're like, "No, we're Mexican. We're just speaking Spanish."
Right. There's racism happening around the world. Poor Chinese people that are just minding, or not even Chinese, it's Asian people.
Yeah.
Walking down the street and they're getting racist attacks. Unfortunately, in Australia, that's been happening. I'm just moving through. I just wanted to know if you actually had any stats, roughly, like how many confirmed cases.
1,200.
And any deaths yet in France?
I think they have 50. I'm not exactly sure, to be
Okay,
honest.
that's all right. This comment, no, TJ Garcia, welcome, but it's not RIP Tom and his wife. They are alive. They are in hospital in Queensland, and hopefully they're going to get through it. They're 63. Is definitely the elderly that are dying from it, and the 60 Minutes report does the expert, the SARS expert, points out several times that people over the age of 65 are the most at risk, but it does also depend on their health. And I would have to say Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are pretty healthy 63-year-olds.
It depends on the country. The information is all different, though, as far as the stats go, being 65 or older, younger, because I haven't seen that been said over from the US. But I can give you an update on France's numbers. It's actually,
Freddie, that was just to clarify your comment just then. That's the guy on 60 Minutes talking about the entire world, and the highest risk category is people over 65. He's not saying if you're under 65, you won't die from it. He's saying that the people most at risk, and it's because they have health issues more than younger, fitter people, is that if you are over 65, you are in a higher risk group.
Okay. The update for the France numbers are 2,281 confirmed cases and 48 deceased.
Right. Okay. So that's probably.
Really...
I mean, Australia, we've still only had 3 confirmed deaths, but like this guy was saying last night, for every 1 death, you can safely say there's at least another 80 people that have coronavirus, and we've only had 150 confirmed cases, but with 3 deaths, it should be about 250. So there's like 100 people that have got it that aren't even on the radar yet, if that makes sense.
But can I bring this up, that from what he said earlier, and I meant to bring this up earlier, is that he said he was going to allow, for Trump, that they were going to allow flights from Britain, but Britain apparently is not even testing because Boris Johnson believed that it wasn't actually useful or effective. So I wonder how that's going to work out. Well, that was from what I read a few days ago.
There's so much going on, isn't there? I mean, another article that I've just found is how to tell the difference between coronavirus, the flu, or allergies. And I think articles like this are really good to be circulating as well.
And tell us.
It says, itchy eyes, runny nose, you probably have allergies or a garden variety cold. Coronavirus and flu symptoms tend to be more systemic. That is, they affect the whole body. The flu and coronavirus also affect other systems and the lower respiratory tract. You probably won't have a runny nose, but what you might have is a sore throat, a cough, a fever, or shortness of breath. Pay attention to your temperature. Allergies don't lead to fevers, and they don't lead to shortness of breath either, unless you've got a pre-existing condition like asthma.
This is going to be really hard for people who are hypochondriacs.
Oh, I know. But in a way, bring it on. I mean, I'd rather people be getting tested and be told they don't have it than people having those symptoms and not getting tested or not self-isolating. I'm going
to have to disagree with you there, though, because that's taking away from people who really have it, really are sick, to have a doctor examining someone who's just worried about something.
Oh, no, that's another thing on the 60 Minutes thing, Freddie. What they're doing is this guy, the reporter, is in Hong Kong, and all they do is they do a temperature test. So it's very simple, and they're walking around in Hong Kong, they're walking around with these little temperature gadgets, and they take your temperature because in the story, he actually goes to a restaurant for dinner, and it's bizarre. They're all in masks, and they've got perspex screens between all of the tables. But to even be allowed into the restaurant to have dinner, at the door they're taking your temperature. And if you come up with a temperature that's not normal, then you're sent off to be tested. So if a hypochondriac's going, I've got coronavirus, and their temperature's fine, they're going to go, no, you haven't, go home, shut up. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. But do they have those guns outside of Asia? Those scan guns?
They will have, for sure. I mean, this is the whole point of this story, is saying this is what countries need to be doing, and they're saying countries are already too late, and Australia's one of them. But this is the way it's going to go. So, I mean, I personally, if I was in a place like Hong Kong, and the footage from Hong Kong, like he goes through a market that is normally packed with people, and there's like half a dozen people wandering around. The streets are empty. But yeah, they're basically saying that countries are all going to self-quarantine like Italy. And if you really only go out in public if you have to.
Yeah. But
Hi, Camera Films. Welcome to our live stream talking about Trump suspending all travel between the USA and Europe and what effect that's had instantly on the stock market. And also we are talking about Rita Wilson and Tom Hanks. And I agree, Camera Films, they are going to be okay. He isn't going to die.
Yeah, it's a hectic night of news.
There's a lot happening. I couldn't believe it. I got home and I was about to do some study and saw the breaking story about Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson. But like my initial banner on chat, which I will jump back to momentarily because we can have a quick little recap, and I'd really love to see how people feel about this. I think everyone's pretty much in the same vein. If it did take a celebrity to make people go, oh, shit, maybe we need to be more serious about this. But
Tom Hanks is also diabetic, isn't he? So that could be a contributing factor in why he is hospitalized.
His wife's got it too.
She's diabetic as well?
No. His wife's got coronavirus as well.
Oh, yeah, no, but I was saying that might complicate things for him because, yeah, he has type 2 diabetes.
Well, yeah, and then maybe his recovery will be, more difficult. Reese M, fuck Tom Hanks. What about everyone else? And I agree with you, Reese. This is the point. All these people that have been diagnosed that no one's really taken that seriously, the question is it because it's a celebrity that people might suddenly pay attention? And even though I hate that that's so heavily embedded in cultures that celebrities, sports stars, musicians are more important than your average person, but at the end of the day, if a celebrity getting coronavirus, or two celebrities as it turns out, if that makes people start to take this more seriously, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's a sad reflection on society that that's what it takes for people to actually give a shit.
But can you imagine if one of your major Australian stars has it? Would it be as big news or?
Definitely. And that goes back to my example of Kylie Minogue when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, despite Breast Screen Australia and doctors and National Breast Cancer Foundation, cancer councils all saying, go and get your boobs checked. It took Kylie Minogue's diagnosis. There was a massive spike, overnight, of women getting their breast screened for the first time. So yeah, Australia loves celebrities and loves the sports stars, and that's my whole point. It's shitty that we regard them as being bigger or better or more important than everyone else on the planet. But the reality is,
the awareness they bring is really helpful for a lot of people.
Well, awareness, yes, but also I think it's a reality check because, someone sitting in their living room hearing that somebody in Western Australia died of coronavirus, they're like, oh, well, they're in Western Australia, and not who cares, but when they're reading that Rita Wilson and Tom Hanks have it, they'll be like, oh, fuck, they'll pay attention. And again, I think it sucks that our culture emulates these people so much that it needs this sort of thing to happen for people to pay attention.
Can I stop you right there?
And if they are paying attention, I think it's a good thing.
And if they're paying attention, they should not forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Tori and Freddie in the Kitchen because it was time to do a shameless plug.
Senate staffer test positive for COVID-19. First coronavirus case on Capitol Hill.
Ooh.
Hi, Tori and the ACDC. We're changing our name too. The channel is soon to be called Tori and Freddie in the
Kitchen. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. Tori and Freddie in the kitchen.
Camera Films. I think people need to stop freaking out. It's another flu-like virus that's going to end when summer starts. Well, Camera Films, for starters, it's a global pandemic. It's just been declared that by the World Health Organization, and the northern hemisphere is heading into summer, but the southern is heading into winter. So this isn't a seasonal thing, but also
a lot of people are believing that the heat will kill it. But I'm like, but if it's happening in Australia, it's happening in Southern Africa, it's happening in Asia, and those places are hot areas.
Yeah, and China's hot in winter. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are parts of China where there's snow on the mountains, but
Sorry, I'm laughing because of what Richard wrote.
in terms of the freaking, oh, have I missed that?
Yeah, Tori and Freddie in quarantine.
Quarantine. Maybe that's what we should. That's even funnier. Oh,
I kind of like that though.
I'll get down. Yeah, no, I'll get down there in a second. I'm just on camera films comments still. Look, people have freaked out, but I mean, at the end of the day, get informed. No.
Oh, it is camera. Sorry.
I do think Darwin and Mother Nature are at play a bit here. I do, but we can chat about that another day. But this isn't like this particular live isn't alarmist. We're just giving you the info, and at the end of the day, worst case scenario, we're all going to end up being quarantined, and YouTube channels are going to be where everyone hangs out. So
don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Tori and Freddie in quarantine.
And the other thing, governments have to instill fear in their populations for people to follow their advice. So, we read 1984 George Orwell while you're in quarantine, and you'll be like, fuck, this is the world as it is now, right now. Hello, Sydney Knox. Great introduction into our chat. He or she says, fuck. That sums things up pretty well.
Yeah.
And Sydney Knox a bit further down says shit. So, a man or woman of few words. And yes, Reese M, I agree. It is more like SARS. And he also says, wake up. Good point. Richard, Tori and Freddie in quarantine. I don't know. I reckon we might change. No, we'll stick to in the kitchen until we're both self-quarantined.
Well, that kind of is quarantine if we're in the kitchen.
True. Now, will the Johns Hopkins map shows Hanks and his wife as infection in Australia? I think it becomes an Australian statistic. Because the article I read before that says we've now got 150 confirmed cases, it did specifically point out that it is unknown at the moment if Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson are included in that 150 diagnosed cases. Quick few things. I don't think Sydney Knox likes us very much.
Well, it's okay because Sydney Knox has clearly not read the World Health Organization's pandemic announcement.
Correct.
But, that's why we're here to inform people so they can leave such wonderful comments and become educated themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And, we're delivering the news with a splash of humor.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Sydney Knox doesn't get the virus.
Okay, Sydney's now telling us his penis is big, thick, and 8 inches long. Look, if you're going to brag about your dick, I'd add at least another inch to that measurement. Just, a tip from me. Will the Rocker remember?
Sorry. Oh, I love how bold you are.
Oh, I love being trolled by a micropeen. It's not a micro, but still. Remember to hit the thumbs up for Tori and Freddie in the kitchen. Thank you. Karen is getting nervous. Her grandmother lost 2 siblings in 5 days from the 1918 flu. Yeah, look, it's scary. And it is scary, but I think also there's information already out there on how we can manage it. And I think all countries on the planet have reacted too slow, but I think the news and information coming out of China was heavily delayed. I mean, that amazing young 31-year-old whistleblowing doctor from China who sadly died of coronavirus, you just have to look at the lengths the government went to silence him for starters. And the 60 Minutes link, I'm putting it again, they also discuss that. It's watch it, everybody. It's an informative 20-minute show, and you'll learn a lot from that.
Maurice, I don't believe that coronavirus will lead to the downfall of civilization. I mean, that's a bit of a jump to go that far away. I mean, the world has been through many pandemics, and societies and civilizations did not collapse from those things. So I don't know why everyone has such a loving fascination with, civilization failing.
Well, who knows? I mean, it's definitely going to cull a shitload of people off the planet. Sydney Knox, pandemic and endemic are mutually exclusive, you retards. Well, retard's not a very nice word. So even pointing that out, dickface, you could
better not to feed the trolls.
Well, I know, and I'm about to block the prick because I think he should just fuck off and have a nice life. Hold a live thread on YouTube and suddenly you're not only popular but you're smart. Bullshit. We're not claiming either of those things, fuckface.
Well, let's just read this headline from the New York Times Coronavirus Live Updates. This is a global pandemic, the WHO says, and the WHO being the World Health Organization. But reading is a virtue.
Yeah, but like he's saying, pandemic and endemic are not mutually exclusive. But, if he'd actually brought that up in a nice way, I'd probably be interested in talking about it, and saying that in between telling us how big his dick is or how average his dick is, whoopee-doo. Look at Ivory's comment about how Ivory feels about the World Health Organization. Not a fan is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I mean, actually, their response to when it was spreading in China was a bit overly cautious because I felt like they didn't want to offend the Chinese government, which is unfortunate because it really could have sounded the alarm a lot sooner.
The problem is we can travel like never before, says Val, so it spreads faster than ever. And, well, Trump's put an end to travel for 30 days, and I don't think he's going to be the first person to do it either. I mean, the only person to do it, sorry. Okay, so let's wrap this up. A few more minutes, a few more comments would be awesome. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us. We've certainly had an interesting live with, a lot of new people coming into the channel, which is fantastic.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and click the notification bell.
Exactly. And thank you for everyone who has commented in chat, and that even goes to Sydney Knox, who, like I said, I would have probably been more interested in having a conversation with without the initial announcements about his penis size and girth. And
it's okay. He's right. We're naturally smarter every time we get onto YouTube. I mean, I can feel it right now. I feel it just flowing into me. It's like smart. I feel like Sydney Knox. I just feel like I can do anything.
Well, Sydney Knox's comments have killed a few of my brain cells, so I'm feeling a bit stupider.
Maybe he's stealing them from you.
Yeah, brain cell thief, possibly. Read them. Put it this way. If this virus was worse than they're saying it is, which it likely is judging from the official response, do you think the governments would tell you there'd be worldwide panic? And that's definitely a topic for another live, because this is the whole thing about dumbing down populations and instilling fear and getting the populace to follow you and your directions. And again, this is talked about in George Orwell's 1984. It's such a revealing book if you read it now. Even simple concepts like when I studied it back in the 80s, CCTV didn't exist, and that's something that's mentioned in it that's happened. So it's definitely worth reading it. It's kind of like a summary of where the world is right now. It's fascinating. But, yeah, this whole thing about worldwide panic, there has been, because, the toilet paper shortage, that instilled fear in people. That was the knee-jerk reaction.
It's kind of funny, but then when we have no toilet paper, we're all not going to be laughing anymore.
Well, exactly. We're going to have to go back to using toilet paper like they did a long time ago. Val wants to know, who is on panel? Does he have a channel? Over to you, Freddie, in the kitchen.
Oh, yes. I am Freddie, and I have joined Tori and the ACDC, which will be rebranded to Tori and the Kitchen.
Tori and Freddie in the kitchen.
Oh, sorry, Tori and Freddie. I totally forgot myself. I'm so used to being the underling.
I think. Well, notice that. I think that trolls killed a few of your brain cells too.
Well, he was stealing them. I told you he was stealing your brain cells.
Yeah, and he stole it. You're the one who came up with Tori and Freddie in the kitchen. I still love Tori and Freddie in quarantine. That's kind of
that one actually does work. I kind of want to do that. Can we change our name several times, or is that not good for us?
You can't change it. Once you get, like, with changing your YouTube channel name, if you do it too many times in a short space of time, then you're stuck with a name for at least 90 days.
Oh,
but we could probably change it. I've been Tori in the ACDC for a while, so we could probably change it to Tori and Freddie in the kitchen, or we could even change it to Tori. It's too long a name, though. If I go into a chat with that long name, people are going to lose their shit. So
I think we could just be Tori and Freddie.
well, that's what we were originally, the Tori and Freddie show.
No, but not even with the show, because then we could just put up quarantine or kitchen.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's Freddie. Do you have a channel? Watch this space, people. Watch this space.
Yes, but it's not ready. It's launching. I actually previously was a producer on Smooth Criminal, and now I've joined the show. And if you haven't known, Tori has a channel called Smooth Criminal, where she takes a hilarious take on criminals, criminality, and all things true crime with a funny take on it. And you can subscribe to her channel.
I'm about to pop the link in the chat.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've been demoted or if I've gotten a promotion.
Back to Sydney Knox. I think he did add a couple of inches to his penis size because his attitude's a little bit little peen syndrome, if you ask me.
Wait. How do you...
Right. Here comes the link for Smooth Criminal.
Yeah, Sydney Knox is a very real troll, but...
Do we see the beginnings of a double chin? I've got a double chin already, fuckwit. I bet you have bad breath and your armpits stink like vinegar. Yeah, you know what? You know what?
Why is his nose in your armpits?
Huh?
I said, why is his nose in your armpits?
He's a pig and he no longer exists. Goodbye, Sydney Knox. Have a nice life. Fuck you. Okay. Can you type in the chat? Not sure what you're talking about. Do you mean Freddie? So you can go to his link. He's not type. He can't type into StreamYard, and I don't know if he's got YouTube open or not. But
no, I don't.
His channel's in the makings. So
yeah. Well, it's actually going. I had another channel 8 years ago, and that's being rebooted. So I will have that link for you soon once all the preparations are ready and it's ready to launch.
Yeah. Also, Richard says you have to have a fever, otherwise you're just a work avoider, kitchen work. So let's just keep it as Tori and Fred in the kitchen because I quite like that. I think it's kind of cute.
Yeah.
I like that you suggested that.
I do like it as well. It was actually you who suggested it because you, in your last unboxing, if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. Tori was talking about how she was in the kitchen now because of, I forgot if you said the lighting or whatever. And so I was watching it myself this afternoon and I was like, why don't we be Tori and Freddie in the kitchen? Because I was in the kitchen last time. You were in the kitchen this time. Why don't we be in the kitchen every time?
Well, like I said this morning when we went live talking about the Harvey Weinstein case, I couldn't go live from the kitchen this morning because it was absolutely shrouded in sunshine. It was way too bright.
Well, you're a star.
Not according to Sydney No Dick. Sydney No Cox. Camera films, how long do you think this will last? Live or the pandemic? Which isn't mutually exclusive to an endemic, thanks to our little buddy. I think it's going to. I think there's already another strain, COVID-19, that 20, that I've read about from this year, and I think it's going to be quite a while.
Well, I remember watching another program about a scientist talking about with major diseases that as long as they can keep it alive in a human long enough, that the human body will naturally adapt to take care of it. So as with most things, I don't think it'll be the end of us. I remember a friend of mine, Tori, who once told me when there was this major it was the thing in what is it, in Switzerland, that thing when I was like, they're making black holes, so what if it like makes something bad happen? And you told us humans are like cockroaches, we'll never die. Do you remember you told me that?
Why is Sydney Knox back in chat?
Because they probably made a new account just to come back in chat.
That's pretty fucking ridiculous. He's hidden now.
Don't Feed the trolls.
I'm not. I didn't. I just deleted and erased that fucker from the channel.
Oh.
Look
what Richard says about the toilet paper crisis.
Yeah, we've got toilet paper on the shelves down where I live. There was just one day of panic buying from a nearby town, and then bless the people that run our local IGA. They had a stash backstage, and they waited for the panic buyers from the nearby town to piss off, and they put this stuff back out on the shelves for the locals.
Yeah, well, but it's funny how it works though, because literally I was thinking to myself, maybe I should go get some toilet paper just in case. Because I was thinking.
But it's weird because I thought the same thing. And then there's this shame thing now that if you buy toilet paper, people look at you sideways like you fucking toilet paper hoarder.
Well, it depends on how much you buy. I mean, you can buy a pack, but if you're buying like a whole cart full, maybe that's a bit much.
No, I just want to buy like an 8-pack of rolls because I've got enough. Like if I had to self-quarantine like now, I've got enough for a month. But if I had to self-quarantine in 3 weeks, then I haven't. So I was thinking I might just get a bit more just in case. Well, John, how do you think this will affect education with schools closing down so early? I think education is going to shift and it's going to become online and homeschooling.
Well, that's what they're doing in the U.S., but the only upsetting thing about that, though, is that there are going to be many parents who are going to feel they need to stay home with their kids because of that, who can't really afford to do that. So it puts a lot of people in a precarious situation to have that worry.
Well, I think if you are tested positive and sent home and you need to self-quarantine, I think you should be paid your salary. I don't think you should have to use sick leave or.
Well, that depends on the country. That'll never happen in the U.S.
It's going to be interesting to watch it all unravel, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's 2 schools I'm aware of in Melbourne that are closed, and I think there's one in Sydney. And I think with your scenario, Freddie, the online classes is what, so the parents, I mean, if they're little kids, it's going to be hard, but if they're in high school, I guess they can stay at home and do their online study and the parents can still go to work.
Yeah, but how many parents trust their teenagers to do it?
Well,
there'll be a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm going to go sneak out and go see my friends when I'm supposed to be in quarantine.
And that could be another, there's so many conversations that this is generating as well. Val saying maybe buy a box of tissues for now. And yeah, I've got plenty of boxes of tissues because I'm a subscriber to people who deliver toilet paper and they also make tissues, and I've got an adequate supply of tissues as well.
I always say when I tell people to make their survival kits or prepper kits is put some seeds in your kits, gardening seeds, because if you can always grow your own food, you'll always eat.
I've got them on my list of things to buy. I get paid tonight and I'm buying seeds tomorrow so I can grow some herbs and tomatoes and a few other things indoors.
Oh, well, then let me give you a little tip. Your broccolis, cauliflowers, things like that, cabbages, they grow in cold. So those are your winter seeds, and salads as well. And then your summer seeds can be your squashes, your tomatoes, your corn, and your beans. And also add snow peas or peas in general to your winter mix.
Yeah, well, I've got plenty of potting mix and tubs out on my deck so I can have a little deck garden if necessary. But isn't that interesting? We think the same because I was like, grab some seeds because I've got jalapeno peppers growing at the moment. I've got parsley, chives, mint and basil, but I want to get some more seeds. Good point by Reese. Who cares about the toilet paper? That's not going to help you when you need medical supplies or food, and that is something that will evolve as well. Food parcels being dropped into areas and so on. But if they can look after their own pantries, and don't forget to put pet food. I've got to buy pet food, and I'm buying double her pet food and double her litter because the thought of being trapped in this house with her and her not having kitty litter disturbs me greatly.
I would like to know if it was confirmed about that dog really having coronavirus, or did they just find it on the dog?
Yeah, I can't remember what happened with that story. I still thought that little story of cats wearing face masks was a bit of good humour when it was needed. Richard is too scared to buy a dozen rolls. I hid them so I wouldn't be judged. Camera says Washington State University is completely online now. Joe says, I think the exciting topic will be the debate that's coming up in America because of the coronavirus. Yep, I think that's going to be interesting to watch too. Morgan, I'm
lose a candidate. I was thinking about that earlier. What if one of the candidates gets coronavirus and passes away? How would that affect the upcoming election?
Oh, that's interesting too.
I mean, do they have protocols in place? Because I was just thinking that today when I saw the news when it said Joe Biden, one of his volunteers had given him some of the sanitizing gel, and I was just thinking, but what if one of them did catch it and passed away? And let's say it was Joe Biden and he's in the lead, or I'm not sure if he is exactly right now, but he was. Does now all the delegates go to Bernie, or does it have to be redone again? Or, I mean, what is the protocol?
There must already be something in place, just if a candidate died anyway, there'd have to be some sort of thing in place for plan B.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what are the protocols?
Well, exactly. I don't know. We'll have to look into that too, possibly. Joe, wondering in North Korea if they're really killing people with the virus. Could be interesting. And we wouldn't know, would we? Nothing comes out. You can't flush tissues down the loo unless you want a huge plumbing bill. That is so true, Lady Pegasus. You're going to need a little bin with a lid on it, and you're going to have to pop it in there and then chuck it all into a garbage bag. That was another thing I was saying last night on Mel Mel's channel. Make sure you've got lots of garbage bags because, A, if you're self-quarantining for a few weeks, you're going to need enough garbage bags just to put your own waste in. But also, if it resorts to using tissues, for example, you want to have a garbage bag to bag it all up in. Freddie is right about planting winter crops in Australia. And, yeah, as soon as I said tomatoes, I was like, no, that's over for us. You've got to plant them in October.
Yeah, squashes, basilics, salads. You can even, I was going to say, usually I plant my my potatoes in wintertime, so they overwinter, and then they grow really big in the summer. But, I mean, that's just one of my gardening techniques that I do. But, my kale is still growing like crazy here in winter. I mean, I have so much of it that I just feed it to the chickens every day.
The thing is, too, though, Freddie, what if it gets to the point where self-quarantining extends to not even leaving your house, like if you've got your vegetable garden? Like, the reason I've got seeds for herbs is because I can grow them inside. But things like you're talking about, like potatoes, kale, whatever, you need a lot of soil. And what if it gets to a point where people are actually literally self-quarantined indoors?
Well, I live in a house, so I can go into my yard, and I mean it's surrounded by a nice big wall. So, and I've got bees. So,
yeah, but I'm talking about people generally, like people in cities, for example, that live in apartments.
Well, what did they do during the war? I mean, there was that whole victory garden where people were growing crops on the roofs in any space they could find, even in Victorian times. In the middle of London, they had full-blown gardens everywhere. So it's quite possible. I mean, it's just, are you willing to do the work so you don't starve, or are you just going to think you can just, order it online if it's not possible?
Well, this is it. I mean, all these conversations are all because of this whole coronavirus thing. I find it quite interesting. Emily, welcome. You're a bit late. We are going to end shortly, but we went live to talk about Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson testing positive to coronavirus in Australia, and Trump putting a ban on travel between the US and Europe for 30 days.
Starting Friday.
Starting from this Friday. And also Richard's little highlighted comment, he's come up with another name, probably for your channel, Freddie in the Garden.
I thought about that, but the problem is I'm in I don't know, maybe it could apply to other countries, but I live in a French-speaking country, and I don't know if they would want to see no, they probably wouldn't, because often my techniques are from these old French books that I found from the 1700s that taught how to do market gardens, and that's what I applied to my life right now, and it worked.
Yeah, I love it. I can't wait to see your channel and the things that you're going to put on there. It's going to be awesome. So thank you to everyone who joined us. Don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already. Also hit the subscribe and hit the little notification bell, the solid one. I don't know why they have the just the outline bell option, because you don't get alerted for everything. It's really weird. So hit the solid bell. I would like to thank everyone, including our troll who did get removed, but
and came back again.
Yeah, could have. Well, I actually hid him from the channel. So originally I just removed him, but he came back with all guns blazing. 2 lives in one day with breaking news. Sending best wishes to everyone on the planet at the moment who is suffering from coronavirus, and take care, guys. Like Reese says, I agree.
Wash your hands. The best thing you can do, wash your hands with soap and water, not the gel. Do it the old-fashioned way.
Even if you're sneezing, sneeze into, if you don't have a tissue handy, sneeze into your elbow. Don't just sneeze and let it fly out there. Really great conversation. I agree, Val. It was great having you all here. And
thanks for coming.
We won't be going live again. I've got to go now and do some writing for a tourist attraction that probably no one will be seeing in the next few months anyway. But
well, let's hope, Richard, that it doesn't get that bad. But we would love it to take off, but not because of quarantine, but because people found us funny and interesting and what we have to say.
I've made a note. I love Tori and Freddie in quarantine, but I think until we are, let's not.
Did you see the picture of Naomi Campbell flying, where she was literally in one of those plastic overall suits with the mask and everything?
No.
Yeah, it was. I don't know, but I think she was going to Hong Kong. I'm not sure.
Right. Well, I mean, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying right where I am. Our pleasure, Planet Sunshine. Thank you too for joining us. Stay healthy, everyone. Take your vitamins from Val. Get a hazmat suit. It's been great, Freddie. Thank you for jumping in and joining in too. I love having a co-host. It makes it so much easier.
Yes, it does.
Richard's hit that button. Well, thank you, Richard, and thank you for your contributions throughout this live. You've been a hoot, as has everyone else. Take care, everyone. We love you heaps, and stay groovy.
Bye, Ben DC.
Bye and hi, Ben DC. Bye, Freddie. I love you.
Bye and hi. Love you too. Bye.
Bye, darling.
Bye.